leaders and the different people on your team are not from this area, and maybe you're just trying to teach them about the rivalry. You want it to be deep-rooted. You want it to be understood from the time they were a kid. That doesn't mean you don't have people from outside, but our crux of our team has grown up around this rivalry, understand what it's about, whether they've been in school here and been on the winning side, or they've been young kids and been on the seeing what the other side is. Maybe when I was in school, they understand what it's all about, and that's the most important part.
Dave.
Luke, among the many things that you inherited here was a long winning streak against your biggest rival. Do you feel, as the caretaker of that winning streak, any extra pressure to keep it going, to keep it alive? Or
there's enough pressure in everything that you do. There's no more pressure than wanting to win a Michigan game. Now, was it that much different if you had won 7 in a row or if you lost 6 in a row? I can't tell you that. To me, you put enough pressure on yourself. There's plenty of pressure, but pressure is what makes you great. And being able to handle those things is important.
By the same token, you have players who've never lost to Michigan. Coach Hoke has players who've never beaten Ohio State. Would you, as a coach, use that as a motivation on either side of that situation?
You use it to your best of your abilities, and it doesn't. Like I said, the most important thing is the mind, and what the mind believes, the body can achieve. And to me, that's the thing you got to get through. Whether you're won 7 in a row or you lost 7 in a row, getting through to the minds of guys that are 18 to 22 years old to understand what it's all about, the pride and the will to play the football game, and that's where it's decided.
Joanne.
Luke, you came into this position under extraordinary circumstances. Heading into this last, final regular season game, can you sort of reflect on what coaching, this year has meant to you?
Well, I don't think this is the time to reflect, and not answer your question, but from the time I've had a chance to step into this role, I have not had a chance to step back and even think a whole lot about it. That's the kind of the way I attacked it from day one. I figured that after the season, when you had some time to actually relax a little bit and reflect, you'll do that. That doesn't mean I haven't taken notes on every situation and every decision that I've made, good or bad. But to sit back and reflect on what it's meant to me, it's not what it's about right now. It's about Ohio State. It's about Michigan. It's about the greatest rivalry in all sports.
Steve.
Coach, I know that you guys had several guys in for recruiting visits over the weekend. You're continuing to contact recruits. Sounds like some decisions are coming down any day on a couple more critical guys. Just what is the message that you guys as a staff have to kids right now about Ohio State? I assume you're selling the university, the program, your experiences, and other things. What are the things that you guys can say to kids to kind of keep that ball rolling right now?
That's what it's always been about. That's what I've sold for 10 years since I've been a coach here. It's about the special place. It's about the guys in that locker room. I don't know how many times we've said it in here, but that message wouldn't change no matter what the situation is. I told guys, to me, don't come to a place because of me. And sometimes you initially, when recruiting them, they get to know you, they like you, they think, hey, I can play for that guy. But when they get here, I tell them, hey, it's not about me. Things change, facilities change, all different kinds of changes. They can build whatever, but the people in that locker room won't change. The foundation of the place won't change, and that's what you sell. And that's what they have to believe in. That's what they have to see with their own eyes. And when they feel that, that's why we've past few years, I think we've had, I don't know if we're allowed to say, X number of visits and signed almost every single one of them because of the place, not because we've sold them on something about playing time, about a position. But they get around our guys, they feel it's a connection, and that's a part of their life.
Marty.
Coach, is there one thing, over here, Luke, is there one thing in their 2 losses that has stood out for you in watching game film that maybe you can borrow from and say, we can do this and maybe slow that down?
Turnovers. I think, both Michigan State and Iowa, the thing that happened is they battled and got turnovers down in the red zone, made some plays. And, it's a balance act. They've done a great job of moving the football. They've done a great job in all those games. Iowa, I think, stopped them on the last play of the game. They've also got maybe 2 or 3 turnovers. I know 2 of them down in the red zone. So that's a big part of what it is. It's not a mystery to a lot of games when you look at the turnover margin. But it's an offense that has done a great job of moving the football. And maybe the only thing that stuttered them a little bit is sometimes when they turn it over.
Tim.
Yeah, Luke, with so many new faces all across the board, like on defense right now, you've got 10 new starters compared to this time a year ago. Were y'all always going to pay a price, do you think, on the field, like you talk about from a confidence or maybe an execution standpoint, having that many new players around?
We don't give them that as an excuse, and that's the biggest thing. We knew there was going to be a learning curve, but that's a part of the game. You're going to have injuries, you're going to have those kinds of things. By the end of the season, you can't keep referring to them as young guys. Obviously you can refer to maybe Ryan Shazier as a younger guy because last week was his first real time, or even the week before. But even with that, the experiences he's had, the first 8, 9 games, special teams wise, and the different things, that's what they got to build on. So won't allow ourselves to have those kinds of things for excuses. That's just something as a coach you got to know going into the season, and a lot of the things you maybe have done in the past, and some of the things you can put on their shoulders that you just can't do. So that's that balancing act.
Over here to the right.
On the flip side, as a veteran, how valuable will Boom Heron be in this football game?
He'll be as valuable as he's been all year. His passion, his emotion is what we really need. Obviously, we've got a few guys back that I think can do a very good job at carrying the football, but I don't know if there's a whole lot of people that bring the same passion and will that Boom does. So, every bit as much as what he does carrying the football obviously gives us confidence as a coach, as an offensive line, as a quarterback. He has that same ability with his personality and his passion for the football game to give it to us in the locker room as well.
Brandon.
Luke, the fact that you weren't as successful as you would have liked to be in this game, the Michigan game, how much does that stick with you, and how much do players carry this game specifically, whether they're successful or not successful, with them throughout their pro careers or the rest of their lives?
Well, it's something you always remember, and the people around here always remember it, and that's what they talk about. Right, wrong, or indifferent. You know that when you come here, you know that when you sign up for this, you know that when you become a coach here, it doesn't matter. But that's what you're measured on, that's what it's going to be about, and that's when you got to play your best football. So that's where we're focused.
Bill.
Could you give an injury update on guys like Philly Brown, Christian Bryant, and others?
I don't know much about Philly right now. I think he'll be okay. Christian Bryant is probably right now still a little bit questionable. As far as anything more, it's Monday. We got to see how that goes on Tuesday and Wednesday to be sure. But right now, I'd say both those guys are probably questionable.
Doug.
Luke, throughout the season, both on and off the field with Braxton Miller, as a true freshman, how much do you feel like you've had to or tried to sort of protect him from things, just being a new guy in this situation, and how much, in the end, no matter how old the guy is, do you end up just sort of throwing him in there and say sink or swim?
It's difficult in both. I mean, you can talk about the things you've tried to have him handle in the team meeting room with the offense and those kinds of things that you can control, and you can see where his growth and his maturity is as far as a coach, is what you can put in and what you think he can't handle. It's the things outside of when they leave this facility that are most difficult, I think, for young guys as well. The situation that a lot of those guys are in, what they hear, what they think outside of the walls of the facility, to me, is what is tough on young guys. Whether they're in the dorm, whether they're being praised or told they're the greatest, signing autographs, this, that, or the other thing. That's the thing that I think is most difficult sometimes here at Ohio State, is to have the maturity to be able to handle all those things outside of the football field, to still have your ability to know you need to grow and get better at what you do.
Obviously, we know you have the defensive background, but have you spent much time one-on-one with Braxton just because he's a young guy in that high-profile spot? Do you spend extra time with him just talking about things?
As a person, yeah, but trying to coach him fundamentally and different things as far as quarterbacks, no, I haven't had a whole lot of chance to sit down with him as much as that. But just as a person, just as, watching his demeanor and the way he handles his reactions and different things like that, that's about the extent of what our relationship has kind of gone through.
Lori.
Coach, I believe I've heard you say that the OSU-Michigan game was the first Buckeye game you've seen live. Is that correct? And
Well, it was the first game I actually was on the field.
Okay.
As a little kid, I was back in the concession stand. I don't think I ever got to come out.
Has anything about the rivalry changed from then till now?
Like I said, you don't really know. I mean, as a kid, you grow up and you hear about it, you see all the different things about it, whether your parents are passionate about it or not. It's a part of it, but until you get here, whether you're a student on campus, whether you're truly involved in every day, the week of it, it's still, there's a lot to learn about it. And that's the thing that's exciting about it. Is you can grow up in Columbus, Ohio, and think you know all about the rivalry, And like we talked about with the recruits, they've been around it. Those guys are from Ohio. They understand what it's about, but they learn so much more when they get here. And so it is still a process. You can't lose sight of that. That's why you talk about it from the day you come into camp till this week.
A couple more questions. Tim?
Yeah, Luke, too. What would be your final instructions, just so to speak, to Braxton before he takes the field on Saturday, a freshman playing in this game? What would you tell him you want from him most?
The same